It is regretted that, in the national interest, it is necessary to move you from your homes, in order to give our troops the fullest opportunity to perfect their training. The government appreciate that this is no small sacrifice which you were asked to make, but they are sure that you will give this further help towards winning the war with a good heart.
Imagine receiving the news that you and your whole village had to leave your homes. And now imagine that you had just 28 days to do so. Well, that's what happened to the villagers of Tyneham back in 1943, just weeks before Christmas. Today, I'm here in Dorset on the Jurassic Coast, on my way to visit this forgotten village trapped in time. So, let's go. We are, Tyneham Village, 78 years later. This bizarre small pocket of the UK that remains untouched by our 21st century world. Really is quite surreal to be standing here, actually. There's nothing touristy around. It really does feel as though we're stepping back in time. No cafe, no modern shops, and very few people. In its heyday, Tyneham was home to just 102 villagers who worked mostly as farmers or fishermen. There was a small village school, a post office, a church, and a big manor house. During the Second World War, Winston Churchill, the Prime Minister, gave orders that Tyneham Village was to be handed over to the army for training purposes in preparation for D-Day. Now, the villagers were promised that their homes would be returned to them after the Second World War. And as the villagers departed, Evelyn Bond, the lady of the manor house, left a note on the church door.
Please treat the church and houses with care. We have given up our homes where many of us have lived for generations to help win the war to keep men free. We will return one day and thank you for treating the village kindly.
Only this village never was returned to the villagers. It remains in the hands of the Ministry of Defence, leaving this village frozen in time. So most of the houses don't have roofs anymore. But there are two buildings that have been perfectly preserved, and that's the church and the old school. Now, this school has been reconstructed to look as it was in the 1920s, when there were actually only 9 pupils in the whole school. So it would have looked quite different to your schools today. They didn't have separate year groups for starters, so all the children were all taught in the same room, with the youngest being 4 and the oldest children being just 14. Walking in here, it really does feel as though the children have just popped out for playtime. Come on. Now, the younger children used the stage, and it wasn't uncommon for siblings as young as 3 to come wandering in to join their brothers and sisters. As well as going to school, children were expected to help their parents on the land with farming. So when the farms were busy with harvesting, often attendance at the school was very low. Now, upon entering the school, the Union Jack was to be saluted, and there was a very strict regime under Mrs. Pritchard, who was the head teacher in 1921. There was to be no talking, and knuckles were rapped if the pen was held incorrectly.
Lauren, get back to work!
Let's get out of here. So this house belonged to Mrs. Pritchard, and walking around here now, you can get a real sense of just how small these houses were. Come and look at this. You can see here the old bread ovens used. Now, these ovens worked really differently to the ovens we have in our kitchens today. You see, you would heat up the oven first by burning a fire. Then you would put the fire out and wait for the oven to cool down a bit before baking your bread. This means that your bread is baked in an oven that is always getting cooler, and this process is known as baking in a falling oven. Take a look at this barn. In the Victorian times, the children of the manor house used to put on performances here. They did this for 15 years, right up until 1914. I wonder if they've got a part for me. So I'm heading down to the beach now. It's called Warbarrow Bay, and again, this little pocket has been completely untouched by the modern day world. Let's go. Sitting here, I can just imagine all the fishermen bustling about on their boats early on a morning. Now, in the 1930s, as more and more people started to own cars, this stunning little spot became popular with tourists, and the fishermen, seeing an opportunity to make more money, would sell cooked crabs and lobsters, homemade beers and cream teas. I could do with some of that now, to be honest. So here we are back at the entrance, and I'm left with mixed feelings about this place. On the one hand, it's really sad that so many people had to leave their homes, never to return. But on the other hand, their sacrifice has led to this fascinating time bubble, a village preserved in time, available to walk around and experience what life was like all those years ago.
Waste not, what not? It's Coke. What?
Hi guys, just a quick one from me before I go to say a special thank you to Rosie Burt, founder of Act Out Education, for taking part in this video. She was the lovely historic character you saw at the start of the film and then again at the end. I've included all of Rosie's details in the comments below, including her very own YouTube channel, because she has lots of educational videos on there for you guys too. And finally, I really hope this video has inspired you to go and visit Tyneham for yourselves. It's open most weekends throughout the year, and the car park only charge a £2 donation. If you do go, do make sure to check the website before you go, however, because sometimes the Ministry of Defence close it off for training purposes. And that's it from me. Thank you so much once again for watching, and I'll see you next time for another adventure through time. Bye bye.